down. So I think I got a feeling everyone's going to be okay.
I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter.
New Sean.
And right now, what I'm about to do is issue a warning.
It'll be a little longer
out
for
to
you.
all other
You know how that works.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Neck of the woods.
It's
Fatty's gonna fatty it.
Like it's terrible. Normal for us.
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these new steps.
I only go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Like that for like 3 weeks. Like it's crazy. So yeah, it's just beautiful weather. The Oilers are dog shit. It's just all kinds of wind up here.
We were 70 degrees yesterday, and Sunday we're gonna get like 4 or 5 inches of snow, being single digits.
Oh shit!
Well, at least there's no race there next week, or this weekend.
True,
so they're out west. So I'll share that I'm drinking something called Corbin's Cannon. It's from Backward Flag Brewing Company down in Forked River, New Jersey. It is the first, for the beer snobs out there, it is the first female military veteran-owned brewery in the United States. So they have a whole series of beers that they do in conjunction with various military-related charities. And from the Forward Assault series called Corbin's Cannon. It's a nice smoked stout. So it's got like a smoky taste to it with a stout. So yeah,
talk about smoky.
Smoking.
I'm drinking
different kind of smoky.
I'm drinking some platinum bubble gum right now. So. Got a little smoke flavor to it.
You got anything to that, new Sean?
Oh, not right now. In a bit.
Oh, not right now. Oh, not right now.
The Canadian came out on that one, didn't it? Oh, not right now.
All right on.
Yeah. So what is going on in the MMA world? I've been really busy this week, and I haven't been paying attention to the true latest and greatest, the drama outside of the sport. New Sean, I know you're usually in there. Let me know what's going on.
Vitor Belfort is going to be fighting for 1 championship.
No, not just Vitor. The TRT Vitor is going to be fighting for 1 championship.
Now, Wes, if you had to set odds when Vitor said he was retiring from the UFC to fight again in some other promotion, what would have been your yes/no odds?
That's a stone cold lock.
I mean, you couldn't even. It'd be like a boxing line.
Minus 1,000?
Yeah, no, wait. I mean, way past that. You get pennies on the dollar with that shit. And we knew he was going to go somewhere too, where he could fucking put that fucking
put that needle
that magma. Yeah, put that fucking that drip back in his fucking neck vein.
Yeah, well. His veins are going to be popping out. I mean, it's you know how it is with him. I mean, I'm a Vitor fan going back. He was probably my first fighter I really liked in the sport. But whatever. I mean,
there was a time when he was a really scary individual. Vitor though has had like. He's had a lot of moments to where he's came up small. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gotten to like,
fight?
I mean, just a lot of moments to where even when he was like the dude on the shit and like, not that he was never like not skilled. The dude was always very, very skilled and jacked the fuck up on some shit. But he would like win some fights and then get to that pinnacle, man. And that dude's he's come up small in a lot of big spots. But man, when he's on and I mean that Bisping KO is like one of my favorites ever.
That and the Rock, old man.
Yeah, and the Rock. Yep, and the Rock. I think those were like back to back, weren't they? Or like right,
yep,
they were right in.
That was when he was hitting hitting it hard, man. Hitting that TRT hard.
That pick, man, of him from like fucking a couple years. It's from a couple years ago, but it's like him present and then him like 5 years before that. Dude, it's
probably the picture of when he fought Luke Rockhold.
Yeah.
It's one of the craziest transformations.
Just absolutely deflated. Somebody popped him.
It literally looks like he got fucking sick with something. Like that's how different it looks, man. Yeah.
I mean, we've been saying it for years. All these old fighters should just there's got to be somewhere where they can just do whatever the hell they want and fight each other. Just sign on the dotted line, and because I mean they're not going to stay retired. You might as well have them juiced up so that at least they can like recover and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think with like one out there and the money that they're I think the problem was those guys still wanted to fight, but even they were like, man, am I going to really make $20,000 when like guys like Vitor at the end were making a few $100,000 a fight. Yeah. You know, they were doing fairly well. I'm sure it's hard to go make 20, 30K, you know, but if there's places like One and Bellator and shit like that are going to drop $100,000 on them and let them take all the shit they want to take, hey, I'm down with some of that. Hell, Rizin and shit now. I mean, those are nice little spots for those guys. I mean, match them up with other dudes like that. Like, I don't want to see them like, don't take them over and feed them to your young stud and just get them crushed real quick. I mean, fine. Get us like Chuck, but not Chuck 45 like we got last time. You know what I'm saying? Find somebody in that kind of mode. I think him and like Machida would have been good and shit.
Well,
like if they could have
Machida's fighting Sonnen.
Yeah,
but just announced from Bellator a couple.
That's a little even far.
Dudes.
Yeah, I mean Machida should like fuck him up. Like seriously, like, he really should, which is gonna be fun. But yeah, I'm down for that, man. If those guys look. We talk about dudes should stop fighting and stuff, but let's be real. It's not going to happen. No matter what anybody says. Their closest family and shit can't get most of these dudes to stop fighting. So if they're going to do it, I mean, let them do it. I don't want to try to talk them out of it, but I'm with you too. Let them go to One, man. Let them pump whatever the fuck they want to pump. You know, I don't give a shit. Who cares?
Yep.
Hell, Jon Jones had that. Another fucked up test today, you know. It's like,
aren't they supposed to release the test results before the fight?
They did.
They did.
How'd that go?
Two of the tests, he tested like 40 picograms, and the other one was 30 picograms.
He's passed like.
What is a picogram now?
Yeah, who gives a fuck? Like seriously,
does that mean you pass if you're at that level of picogram?
No, like it's anything is a fail. But they're just like, it's fine. Like it's hilarious how they're not like they've completely changed their thoughts on it, and it's all like junk science anyway. So like, why?
Yep, it really is. Well, they're saying that with him, he's gonna have false tests like that for like he could have them forever. What they're trying to say is he's got molecules in his body that could pop up for the rest of his life. That's their explanation for him popping now, which, dude, just like Sean said, it really is. Most of this shit, they have no fucking idea. They have no fucking idea.
They're talking about experts. Know. There's no experts.
No, there is not. There's no fucking experts, man, whatsoever.
Not done enough testing to prove.
And you can't test for
bullshit.
Like, there's new shit popping up yearly. They don't have the test in the past test to measure against with this new shit that pops up literally like every couple years. Like, that's why it's all a joke, man. Drug testing is a joke, especially in fighting. It still blows my mind that there's guys from like, and like I respect guys like Josh Gross and shit. Like, I think that dude's a pioneer in the game and shit. But like, that dude was around from back in the day and shit. I guess being back then and seeing guys literally like on horse fucking steroids, like I don't think any of us want them on like that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're all more cool with like, if they want to do fucking like TRT and shit like that and shit that helps you recover and that kind of stuff, I'm fine with all that. I don't care about any of it, mainly. But I think those guys they still look at it like they don't want them taking like bodybuilder steroids and shit like that, which I can't argue that. But they think it should all be gone. And that's just impossible. You're never going to take, especially cage fighting. I just don't think you're ever, when a guy is going into a cage and another man literally is in there trying to kill you, there's going to be dudes that are going to look for any fucking advantage possible. Any small advantage. It's always going to be like that. That's just the theory of man. Like that's how every man's ever going to think. This dude's trying to kill me. What can I do to make sure that doesn't happen? That's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, it's all just stupid. We all know that. Everybody on this podcast is in agreement. It's USADA is a joke, and nobody gives a fuck. They should just do.
We just want to see John fight. We know that. We'll talk about it.
And just do the IQ tests. Just do it how it used to be, so that whatever, as long as you can piss somewhat clean on fight night, then it's all good. Like, who gives a shit? Like,
and then the randomness of punishments and shit too. Like Machida,
it's all crooked.
Machida, he got 18 months or something for the same shit. Yeah, it's all about who's pulling dollars in for fucking Las Vegas, for the sports commissions. There's so much bullshit behind it. I mean, Nowitzki works for the UFC and shit. Like, how was that dude ever you know what I'm saying? Like, how was that dude ever credible to fucking begin with? You know, there's so much politics behind it and shit, man.
Yep.
Besides all that, who gives a fuck?
It's
cage fighting, man.
Does.
It is cage fighting.
That is the damn truth. So there was an event last week.
It's pretty
decent. The first UFC event ever in Prague. It was a ESPN Plus, the third, I guess, ESPN Plus event. The cool part was that they had the preliminary card on ESPN, I think 2, with an 11 a.m. kickoff. So that was different. Wasn't expecting to see ESPN televised cage fighting in the middle of the day. So that was
didn't
cool.
do great, but it didn't do bad either. I think it did a little over 100,000 or something like that, 150,000.
No, it had to be way bigger than that.
Oh, it's not, dude. Bellator actually did 375,000 Saturday night. The UFC prelims was 160 or something like that, 150, 160. But it's it was 11, like you said though. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. It's fucking fights from Ukraine or wherever the fuck.
And there was not one known fighter on that.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, you're going to get Saturday morning programming like that on ESPN that gives you 175,000 views. They'll take that every morning. You know.
Sure. I'll say one guy that should start becoming a known name in MMA circles. Damir Ismagulov may not be a finisher, but he's a lot better than a lot of these scrubs that he's facing. I mean, Joel Alvarez.
There was people actually betting this guy too.
I know, and betting what they claim to be sizable amounts.
Woo.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's move on from that. Carlos Diego Ferreira took out Rusty Cables. This fight really wasn't close, was it?
No, not close at all. I was way off on it too. Way off.
Yeah, it seems like Rusty Cables has kind of hit his.
Yeah,
he's on the downslope. He's not able to use his wrestling as effectively anymore. And when that goes through, when that doesn't work, then he's kind of shit out of luck.
He's got nothing else, does he, man? He hasn't evolved much. He was always, I got to get you down and hold you down and just kind of land a few things. I mean, I like CDF a lot, but if he's stuffing your takedowns like that, you're in trouble, man. Yep.
Yeah, you're right about that. Big upset in the next fight. Ismail Nordiev decisioning Mikel Prazeres, who I feel should have been a fade plant in hindsight, moving up to welterweight. Eventually it was going to come back to haunt him. I think that's kind of what happened here, as he ran out of gas about 3 minutes into the first round. Last agreement there?
Yeah, it was bad. It sucks. I was on him pretty good. It's one of the ones I kind of lost a little money on. I had a little money on him in that fight with some other stuff, but I've been thinking that for a year and a half now, and I swear I faded that dude so many times over the past couple of years, man, because I thought that was going to catch up to him. That he was going to eventually, he was always going to be small at 170. He doesn't have the best gas tank, and the dude just kept pulling him off. And he just ran into a kid here that I think might be pretty good, though. I'm very intrigued by this dude, and he might have a pretty bright future, honestly.
Yeah, I guess no comment from Nushan. Next fight, Damir Hadzovic taking out Marco Polo Reyes. Just a huge advantage on the ground. Exploited it significantly, and that's Polo Reyes is down right?
Yeah, I liked old Hadjibich in this fight. I think I got right around even money on him too. Yeah, I didn't see that coming, and the finish was just, man, that was madness. That was pretty good, dude. Yeah, it was a pretty good fight, man, on a pretty good card. So, yeah, that guy's always gonna. He's man. 155 is just loaded with a lot of just tough outs. I mean, if you don't show up on that night, you can lose to a lot of guys in this division, and that's another dude that could beat you on a bad night.
Yeah, both these guys are just action fighters, but obviously Hadzovic had the advantage on the ground, and he was smart enough to use that advantage. Because I don't know if he wanted to get in a slugfest with Polo Reyes, and he didn't. So good on him, and yeah, he's had a pretty decent start to his UFC career.
Jillian Robertson only has one way to win. Doesn't throw any punches, but apparently it doesn't matter. Screw it. I thought this was a gift. I was a little worried in the first round, but she did what she needed to do, right, Wes?
Yeah, that was pretty fairly textbook how you thought it was going to go, and yeah, she came through.
I know New Sean's probably disappointed this didn't go over. But what else?
Well, I did not play the under or the over because I expected.
What do you mean play the under? Don't you dare that?
I know. Sorry, misspoke. That's a faux pas. Yeah, I expected her to sub. I even was tweeting it to a guy that asked me about the over on that one. I was like, no way. She's probably gonna get the sub, but her sub prop was so low because that's obviously the way it was gonna happen. So couldn't even touch it. So pound for pound, Canada top 10.
Shit, maybe top 5.
Ugh. So bad right now. So bad.
And yeah, it is.
Featherweight bout. This guy seems to be going places. Chris Fischel just brutalized Daniel Tamer. This guy just is relentless now.
Yeah, man, the line got so big, my dumb ass ended up taking a little sprinkle on Tamer, and yeah, he's horrible. That guy's like not good. Yeah, I like Fishgold's. Yeah, he's a tough dude, man. He's gonna be a tough guy for people down there. That guy comes forward, he doesn't stop, man. He's a fun action fighter, but man, Daniel Tamer's fucking horrible, dude. That guy's really bad.
Yeah, like it wasn't even a case of him gassing. It was just him getting dummied by Chris Fishgold. He definitely has about a quarter of the skill of his brother. So Fishgold just dominated him. Good to see from Fishgold. We'll see what he can do next time.
Preliminary headliner. This was an interesting bout. For 4 minutes and 56 seconds, Carlo Pettersson looked like the better fighter than Dwight Grant. Then one counter later, his mouthpiece goes all the way across the octagon, and he died. Dwight Grant wins with 1 second left in the round. I think it was I think the ref stopped it right at the right time. At least he didn't miss the jump in a little late, and it goes to the bell. Wes, you must have been pretty excited about this. I think you were on, Grant.
Yeah, I like Grant quite a bit in this fight. Yeah, it was a decent back and forth fourth round, but yeah, man, that's really one of the might not be the most best and technical like counter knockout we've ever seen, but man, his mouthpiece flying out like to the 7th row and shit. That was definitely one of the most holy shit counter knockouts that I've ever seen. Yeah, that was pretty fucking awesome, man. And I didn't get Grant being an underdog in this fight at all. I liked him in this spot quite a bit. I know he's getting. I think he's on the older side, 90 and up in. Yeah, he's getting into the end of the 30s. Like for some reason, he still seems like kind of a prospect. But yeah, 34. Don't know what they really do with him going forward. But yeah, I'll take the plus money in this spot. That was pretty nice.
Main card, my dude Magomed Ankalaev took on some jabroni called Clifton Abreu, and it was
hello, boys.
Hold up, is that is that fucking single leg?
Hey guys,
What's going on here?
What's up, man? Holy shit! Are you on like 4 scotches right now?
No, I don't drink.
He had 7. Don't worry.
I was like, I figured it'd take you like at least 3 scotches to jump on the show.
You know, I was just sitting around, and it's been years, so I thought I'd jump on.
You got the greatest of all time this week, you know. Might as well
Ben
get
Askren week.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Guy with way more hair than you.
This is true.
I'm not even going to introduce you formally because you know what? If the people haven't listened to the show that long, well, they can figure out who you are. So sorry, newbies. Not going to introduce him.
Lance, what did you think of Magomed Ankalaev last weekend?
Who?
He's like, who?
Just another Russian that can't finish.
Oh, yeah, none of them
Finished the
can.
fight before this. Well, let's move on to the next fight. I think there's one guy Lance might like, Peter Yan against John Dodson, which I thought was the best fight, at least the best fight on paper on this card, and he really kind of wiped the floor with John Dodson. I mean, all Dodson could do was complain about how his hair was in the way. Like, why would you grow your hair out that way in the first place as a fighter? But don't get me started. Peter Yan, dust the floor, 30-27 across the board. Mr. Kentucky, I'll let you start. Talk to me about Yan and how good do you think Yan is? Could he win the bantamweight title? I'll ask each of you that. Will Peter Yan be the UFC bantamweight champion at some point?
I don't know about that.
I think he'll fight for a title.
He'll get a shot, but me personally, I think Marlon Moraes is the baddest 135er on the planet right now. So I don't think Peter Yan is built yet to beat Marlon Moraes, but
he's still young.
Besides that, can we talk about how Dodson is like transformed into fucking into Billy D. Williams? Like that whole fucking that hair get up, man.
His
Holy
hairline
shit,
is
bro.
terrified of the front of his head. Holy shit, it is screaming
Don't talk
back.
about terrified hairlines in front of Lance, okay?
Well, you know what? When you get to a point where you just need to give up, and he hasn't got there. Luckily, I did that early.
Well, it's the weirdest thing. Like he used to shave his head, and then all of a sudden he just decides, like in his mid-30s, to start growing out his hair. Like, what the fuck are you doing, buddy?
Who do you think he is? Bob Ross with that thing? I mean, Christ.
I mean, he's probably the most unlikable guy in the UFC, I would say.
It's bad, man. He complains like every fight. Yeah. He complains every fight to the ref about something.
What's crazy is that's like the most exciting
Smith,
John Dodson fight that he's had in like 2 years.
That's because Peter Yan was beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, exactly. Because he actually had to fight.
I had goes the distance in a parlay. I had my ass clenched the whole fight because holy shit was Peter Yan throwing heat. He was like, luckily Dodson has a hell of a chin on him because that
his
fight
hands
could
are
have been
insane, man.
Could have been
that dude is literally fucking all out every second of a fight. Fun little dude.
All right, Lance, what is your opinion of Peter Yan? I haven't heard that yet.
I think he's good. I don't know if he'll ever be a champion. He might fight for a title. Like it's like everything else with a striker who's exciting. I want to see him versus a really, really good wrestler and see how he does with that first.
I'll say this though, his pressure striking is as good as anyone it's up there with Lineker in terms of he doesn't really give you any room to breathe.
And I think that's the fight.
Yeah.
I think that's the fight I'd want to see.
That would be an insane
man.
matchup.
Yeah.
That can main event any card I'll watch.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
The plus side about bantamweights is it's a lot harder to hold a guy down at those smaller weight classes.
Yeah, you see how he was getting up from the few little takedowns Dodson got? That was insane, man. Yeah. That dude's scrambles were just crazy.
Well, I'll say this: I'm laughing because I can't wait to hear what Lance has to say about what we're gonna talk about for the next 17 seconds next. No, we can't because Lance is here. Women's MMA, his favorite female fighter, Liz Carmouche. Another decision win over some Russian, Lucy Pudilova. Lance, how excited were you for this? How many naps did you take during this 15 minutes of destruction?
So I usually watch UFC with 2 TVs. I'll have UFC on one TV and then something else on the other. And I literally watched like 4 seconds of this fight. I looked something like that. I looked over and it was Liz was on top, and then I looked over again, and then there was a bunch of weird scrambles, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I've had enough of this. I'll never understand why we have fights like this. It doesn't make any sense. There's no one that can enjoy that. Like, their families don't enjoy it.
Why is that on a main card?
Mm-hmm.
Like, bury that if you're even gonna. You shouldn't even have it, but bury it if you do.
They put Ismagulov on Barry,
first.
and then gave us Liz Carmouche. Like, come on, man.
Part of me wonders if the UFC is threatened, if there's going to be some sort of class action lawsuit about them being discriminatory against women, and that's why they have to have some sort of equal. Let's move on. Now, one guy who seems to be going in the wrong direction is John Vellante. He faced some guy named Mikel Okolasujic. And Michael Olowokandi, it gets KO'd in the first round by body shot. Man, I feel like John Vellante is he's more beat up and more injured than his doppelganger, his uglier or his better looking doppelganger, Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, that was just a garbage fight. It was so weird that we didn't even know what happened. I mean, it was so quick and he just went down. I don't know what to think of Olowokandi. Vollante's a dumpster fire. I mean, putting him away is good because Vellante has been staying in there, but just a garbage fight.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay, I love late reaction body shots though. That shit's awesome.
Figure out what the hell actually happened.
Absolutely.
Co-main event.
Stefan
Struve and the 3-minute warrior Marcos Rogerio de Lima.
He's such a fat tub of shit.
Is there an easier bet in this sport than fading Marcos Rogerio after he wins the first round of a fight? If you can get live odds
what was
on
the
that,
live line on him?
Does it matter? I mean, honestly, you could have played it anything.
Yeah, there's few that literally say if he makes the second and says fuck it, I can't win. Straight up. Never seen anything like it. Dude, to go from 205 to 255. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, he's just bad. I mean, Struve is done for now.
Is he?
I mean, he'll probably fight.
Little heart, big body.
Maybe
little heart, big body.
Maybe he'll retire and then go fight Vitor in one. That'd be fun.
No,
there we go.
Well, the new thing is you retire because you've taken too much damage and you're worried about your life and CTE and all that. So then you go to bare knuckle boxing.
Oh yeah, that is.
or one if you want to juice up again. I mean,
no gloves, Lance. You don't take as many shots. It's over quicker.
It seems like every washed-up fighter now retires and immediately goes to bare knuckle boxing and I love when it's grapplers and wrestlers going to bare knuckle boxing. The whole thing is there's no way you I don't know how those guys even get paid. Sometimes they don't. Do people actually paid them. Do people actually watch bare knuckle boxing? Is that a thing?
I haven't watched any of it, to be honest with you guys. Full discretion.
There's Capoza and 7 other dudes that watch.
We streamed it. We streamed a couple fights of it when we were in Colorado. Remember that, Wes?
Yeah.
We're fuck, there's nothing else on. Might as well.
That's 15% of the audience.
Oh man, did Hendricks ever fight in that, or did that get?
I thought he did, and it lost in a minute.
Yeah, he got knocked out.
Yeah, he got knocked out by.
Lance would know.
Who was it? Somebody knocked. Yeah, some
mook.
Yeah, some shitty motherfucker that he would have mopped up a few years ago. Literally, fucking starched him, dude. I can't remember. Was it Julian Lane? Did Julian Lane starch him?
No.
Oh,
wait,
it was somebody.
It was the gay porn guy.
It was Dakota Cross.
That's right. Well, it could have been Darren Cruikshank who said gay porn.
It was a gay porn star, not a gay porn star wrestler, knocked out Johnny Hendricks in a bare knuckle boxing match.
At least it wasn't a gay porn star striker.
God, man, that's bad.
What a sad end to that career.
MMA, 4 years in MMA is a lifetime.
Man,
dude.
We haven't had one in a while. Would you agree that Johnny Hendricks is literally case number 1, exhibit A of USADA, backfiring?
I don't know. I think what I think with Johnny Hendricks. I think he just got lazy and stopped training completely.
I think that's a big part of it.
I don't I don't know. He might have been juicing. I think most were, but you just like his eating habits and just how he is outside of camp. And well, I think that's one of the reasons that like wrestlers shut down. It seems like overnight, it's like they just suck instantly because you kill yourself since you're like 4 years old.
Right.
And you're cutting weight, and it's a lifestyle. And those guys wrestle in the summer. They wrestle all year long, always staying in weight. I think you just get to a point in your early 30s, you're like, God, fuck this. I'm just going to get fat and not do shit.
And eat barbecue.
And he did. Holy shit.
And lose money on a restaurant. Yeah.
I do think it was both with Johnny. It was a little of both, but a lot to do with not giving a fuck, for sure.
He ate his own steakhouse out of business.
Out of business? Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Angus beef.
Poor Johnny. I love Johnny Hendricks.
What's crazy is that dude arguably beat fucking GSP at his peak. That's
yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
I think he did.
Yep.
Anyway, main event. Jan Blachowicz seemed like he had the riddle that was Thiago Santos figured out after the second round. But then he decided it was a good idea to run straight at Thiago Santos at the start of the third. Yeah, night-night. Terrible decision, and Thiago Santos once again wins the day. Wes, thoughts there?
Yeah, man, I absolutely love me some Thiago Santos, man. I loved him in this fight. I had probably my biggest bet of the night. Yeah, I mean, we saw a different fighter in Santos, I think. The dude was measured. He knew he was going to have to get this into the second and third round. He kept his distance really well, and man, when the opportunity presented himself, nobody goes in for the kill quite like that dude. He finishes guys, man, and another finish. And I mean, I'm intrigued by him and Bones. Like I'm
more intrigued about him and Johnny Walker, but that's a story.
I mean,
another day.
He's there for he's right there for that guy's got a winning streak that I don't think you can deny too much longer. And not that I don't think he can beat Bones, but he's a guy that poses a serious threat, man. If he lands on most guys in that weight class, it's a problem. And yeah, I love that dude, man. He's one of my favorite fighters in the sport now. Anybody, anytime, anywhere, and that's rare in this sport now. That dude's awesome.
Yeah, Nushan, he's won 8 out of 9 fights.
Yeah.
How did Anthony Smith get a title shot over him? He knocked out Anthony Smith.
They fought at middleweight.
But still, he knocked out Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith
got a higher ranked light heavyweight before Thiago Santos did.
Correct statement.
Still, Anthony Smith isn't good at fighting.
But before, like, Anthony Smith even got to UFC, he was like fucking 3-3 or some shit over in LFA. Like, the guy was barely beating dudes in the LFA.
He was in Strikeforce, wasn't he?
He was in Strikeforce for a bit. He was in...
Yeah.
Before he came to UFC, he was on Axis. I believe it was LFA or one.
Oh, you mean directly before? He fought in Strikeforce. Yeah. I know he fought Tim Kennedy and a few other guys over there.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
But yeah, I was getting a little bit worried about my fight doesn't go to distance parlay. There wasn't much happening. Blachowicz wasn't really trying to take Santos down, so it wasn't like he was getting tired. But then Blachowicz just pulls a Santos and runs chin forward right into Thiago Santos.
Brunson.
Yeah. So that was beautiful. And yeah, I mean, Santos has got to be one fight away now. At this point.
You got anything here, Lance?
Yeah, I was shocked by that line. I thought Santos would be like minus 200 plus in that fight. Yep. I was really, really surprised because Blachowicz' only way to win was to basically clinch him against the cage and make it super boring.
Well, he was winning. He was just an idiot. That's what he was doing. It was working. He was an idiot.
I mean, yes and no. Like, I mean, the first round, it could have been 1-1 going to the third.
It was 1-1, yeah.
And like when you look at Santos, it's a matter of time till he lands something. So for him to win with just clinching him against the fence, he has to, I don't want to say get lucky, but eventually Santos is going to land that shot. I never saw Blachowicz being able to easily take Santos down, and I was just
really
surprised.
On him that much either. Like he wasn't really making him work that much. So it wasn't
the
like
dude
Santos was tiring out.
The dude came in there with fucking Muay Thai fucking ankle fucking braces on, like he was coming in there to strike with fucking Santos. Smart. He was an idiot before he even got in the cage that night.
Yeah,
I'm with Lance. I didn't think that the threat everybody was saying that Blachowicz was just going to absolutely get him to the cage and muscle him to the ground. I didn't see it much. Like Santos's takedown defense and his clinch game on the cage has gotten really, really good over the past year or so. So that just wasn't like necessarily absolutely going to happen, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say I don't think he can be competitive with Bones, though. I think just stylistically, like I don't know who can be competitive with Bones.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think Bones would take him down pretty easily and just lock over submission. And I don't think Thiago could get inside enough to land something big. But I mean, that's with Bones. It's kind of like it sucks that Anthony Smith is fighting Bones, but like who the fuck's going to fight Bones?
That's the problem.
Like
it was John. This is the first time that Jon Jones, like the shortest turnaround Jon Jones has had in a fight, or fight to fight, since 2011. And he's probably like, this is a gift to the fans for being out. I'm going to fight this scrub. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. Jon took 3 years off, basically, minus a couple fights here and there. Like he took a lot of time off, and with all that time, he still has cleaned out the division. He left
bad light heavyweight.
Yeah, then DC came back and got all his scraps. Just started scrapping up what was left over. Yeah,
that's right. That is right. Well, here we are. The big pay-per-view is finally here later this week. UFC 235. We've been looking forward to it, I guess, really since they first started talking about it 3-4 months ago. Big fight card. The early preliminary card, not so strong. It starts off with two of Lance's favorite things, women's fights. I know, he can't wait.
Back to back. Nice.
Yeah,
back coming back.
It's nice though. At least then you can just skip the first two fights. And
they're at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally do that when I look at a fight card. I always look and see what the first couple fights are to see actually when the card starts for me. So with this, I'll just kind of push it out 45 minutes before I have to turn it on.
Oh, you can go a full hour. The first one's definitely going to decision, but second.
I don't even know who these chicks are.
That's fair.
First fight's a 1.5 too, Sean.
Really?
Yeah, the first women's fight's a 1.5 as well.
That doesn't seem accurate. Pollyanna Viana taking on Hannah Cyphers. I mean, Wes, do you remember Pollyanna Viana being a finisher? Because I don't.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a couple finishes.
She's never won by decision.
Really?
Yeah, is she?
Her first decision in a few years was her last fight against JJ Aldrich.
Fought JJ Aldrich on the pay-per-view card of Dillashaw versus Garbrandt. And
I don't remember that at all.
So is this on the pay-per-view card?
Does the winner get a Wikipedia page?
I'm hoping so.
That's pushing it.
Oh, I was thinking of someone else. I was thinking of Viviane Pereira, who's 4'3" and always ends up in decisions. Sorry.
Yeah, this is a different chick. Still, I don't get why she's some heavy favorite here. I know it's other chicks.
She lost to JJ Aldrich.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I probably can't bet this or anything, but I'll probably pick Chafers and Toutmaster. I don't see how she's almost 3-1 against anybody. So
her best win is Joe Daddy Stevenson's girl.
Exactly.
And she's one of the worst. She's one of the worst fighters that's ever stepped into the cage in the UFC. No bullshit.
Oh, I'm looking at this. And the other girl only lost to Macy. Well, this could be,
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's no way she should be fucking minus 265. Right?
The other girl has only lost to fighters who have actually been in the UFC. Heather Clark, Jillian Robertson, Macy Barber. That's interesting. Okay. Nushan.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll pick Cyphers because Viana's not that good.
That's something. Do I even have grades? Do I even want to give grades for these two? I mean, do we care?
All those names you mentioned could have been made up, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you otherwise. When you were reading off a list of women's MMA fighters, I was thinking, he's fucking with me. These aren't real people.
That's what I do.
That's fantastic.
I already forgot the name of the girl fighting.
I'm not gonna talk about it. It's not even worth it. Moving on up, we got. I know Wes has something to say about this one. Lance won't. Macy Chiasson taking on Gina Mazzani.
It's my Kentucky redneck ass actually gonna correct you, Jay. It's Chiasson, I believe is how you pronounce her name. Chiasson.
Chiasson.
Yeah, I mean. Nah, she's actually like some fucking redneck chick though from like South Carolina or something like that. I think.
This is not a good looking fight.
Yeah, Louisiana. Louisiana.
There's
no model participating, Lance.
I've never heard of these people, and I just pulled them up, and it is not a fight I'm going to be tuning into.
I actually like Shaysan quite a bit in this fight, dude. This Malzani chick is fucking horrible, dude. And Shaysan's actually pretty good, man. She was a beast on Tough, won that season. I think her ground game is so much better here than old girl, but Malzani's like, she's tough. I don't think she's going to get knocked out. I think this gets to the mat. Now, I actually like Shaysan by sub here, and that's like plus 170. So I took a little shot on her by sub plus 170.
Hey, Wes, real quick question about Shaysan. Is she pre or post surgery?
It looks post. It looks post.
I'm just trying to cap the fight.
Oh my god. New Sean.
Malzani is fucking horrible.
Terrible is the right word, okay?
Yeah, she's fucking terrible. Shaysan, like Wes said, looked decent on the tough fights that for some reason Wes still watches.
I got a problem.
Yeah, you do have a problem. Yeah, she's good enough that I'm looking at sub at plus 170, and it's a bad one when I'm looking at that on a chick fight. So yeah, she's gonna get her down and sub her.
Well, are you worried about her Mazani's big win over Yan Nan Wu? Does that maybe change
the Wu?
That's a fight that happened. I'm looking at it. It's real.
It happened actually in
the UFC,
which is fucking insane.
Yep, and that girl's on a 1-fight winning streak. I just looked. Her nickname's Mulan.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
She fought.
I got Macy.
Mueller.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Enough out of you. Anyway, Macy. I got Macy Chiez on a C and Gina Mazzani a terrible. That's exactly what it is. There's no denying it. Chiezon's 5'9" and just way bigger than this girl, and I expect it to just be a mauling. She'll submit her. And it will be our consensus bet. I know Lance doesn't want to hear it, but he doesn't count.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, no, it's a winner. Macy Chiezon by a sub.
No, we went another way.
Inside the distance in the park.
Oh, right, we did audible. I'm sorry. We are going inside the distance.
Just in case.
We are. It is a just in case, but she will destroy her. Let's move on. I know Lance has nothing to add here. Charles Bird and we got an Edmund sighting.
I think this might be an okay Edmund.
Is this an Edmund coached by an Edmund?
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure Asian.
I think he is too. Yeah, I think he's from
whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Glenn.
And you know what happens when that happens.
We're gonna call this fight blacked.
Hogged out. This fight is hogged out.
You can cap this fight strictly by looking at their Sherdog pictures.
Charles Bird got knocked the fuck out last time. By Darren Stewart, who's absolutely garbage.
Black fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, I can't put any money on this fight, but I actually like Edmund here, dude. Bird's he's like a 35-year-old dude that's, we know pretty much what he is. Got knocked the fuck out by Darren fucking Stewart. I'm going to pick Edmund here, getting coached by Edmund out in Glendale. He's got to have great head movement. So he'll be the pick. No money on this fight from me whatsoever.
New Sean.
I would look fight doesn't go to decision. It's only minus 195. These guys both bang and Bird actually does have some subs, so I think Shabazian's gonna knock his ass out, but you never know. He could get blacked.
Blacked.
What? All right, Lance. What do you got for us?
Yeah, Shabazian has no ground game, and he's super fucking sloppy, and he's a little 21-year-old white kid under Edmund, and he's facing a black fella who has a pretty gangster hat on in his Sherdog picture. So I think that's enough right there. I do like Bird here. I think he gets in the ground. I think he locks in a sub. So I do like Bird in this fight.
Ooh, dog money.
I'm going to go with Shabazian. Just a huge age difference. Yeah, huge age difference, mobility difference, speed difference. Definitely worried about Shabazian. He definitely gets mookie in dicey situations, but he seems to find a way to finish or to get to the end. I mean, he showed a good amount of heart in his last fight to end up getting the W. I think he'll do the same here. Now we move up to the good portion of the card. We'll start with everybody's favorite fighter, Thiago Sanchez, taking on the gimmick Mickey Gall. Wes, give us your breakdown here.
Yeah, Diego is running around down in Vegas, though, looking like an extra out of a Lou Diamond Phillips movie. I swear to God he is. It's fucking excellent. Man, I'm telling you, dude, Diego here at plus 225, he was even bigger than that earlier in the week. Man, I think we've seen this movie before, man. Like, he shouldn't win this fight, but fighting a guy that literally has zero striking power and needs to get him down to get a sub. I don't think Diego's ever been subbed in his entire career here. So, I mean, we know how they score Diego fights. We know how this movie goes. Man, I took some plus 225, nothing big, but we know what's going to happen here. It's going to be 29-28 Diego, and I'll take that dog money.
All right, Nushan.
I put Mickey Gall in a parlay at minus 225, just a 1-unit play. I'm kind of regretting it.
You should.
You know what's going to happen here.
I looked into this some more, and yeah, like his striking did look pretty damn bad against Randy Brown. He did kind of come from behind after getting kind of dominated in the first round. He was able to win the second, and then he had just nothing in the third. So you worry about his gas tank a bit. You worry about his striking, and Diego's never been subbed. So I'm definitely kicking myself. I'll take Gall. Maybe he gets his first. Diego Sanchez loses by sub for the first time, but it was probably a dumb play by me. Now that I have looked into it more.
Never admit you're dumb on the pod.
I already did.
Lance.
Man, I don't think I'd ever say this before, but I think Diego's going to box this dude up.
It's fucking true, though. It is true.
Like, Gall is super, super fucking sloppy on the feet. His takedowns are not very good. He doesn't set him up very well. He doesn't set him up well with his strikes. When he takes guys down, it's usually because people do stupid shit. He kind of just gets a weird takedown. I think on the ground, I do think he could finish Diego on the ground if it got there and he got in a good position. But Diego's the better wrestler here, and Diego's the better boxer here. And Gall doesn't have a great gas tank. So weirdly enough, I don't think you've ever kind of said those things about a Diego Sanchez fight, especially at 37. But I think at over 2-1 right now, I think you have to take a shot on Diego Sanchez.
Yeah, Lance is exactly right.
Duh.
This case he is. I mean, Mickey Gall's shown that he's fairly proficient on the ground once he gets it there. But his striking is weak. He does not. There's just not much there to it. He doesn't have knockout power, and Diego hasn't been submitted. So if it goes to, he's facing a guy who's a superior wrestler to him, and is not going to get submitted. So, I shouldn't say that. I feel it's, Diego can get Mookie, but unlikely to be submitted. So I'm going to have to take the chance too. I like Diego's aggression. His work rate's always going to be strong. And at these odds, I say, why not? Why not? Let's move up. We got Cody Stamann taking on Alejandro Perez in a pretty decent bantamweight bout. Wes?
Yeah, I think this should be a pretty exciting fight. I kind of lean more towards Stamann just being able to do a little more here, getting a few takedowns. I just worry Perez stays in fights, man. That dude, he's tough. He's tough to finish. I just worry maybe a little bit about Stamann's gas tank, but I think that should be fine. I think Stamann kind of rolls to a unanimous decision here, just kind of by getting takedowns and controlling the fight on the mat. It's just as far as the bet though, I can't lay 2-1 on Stamann in this fight. Perez is still a tough dude that stays in fights. You never know.
Nushan.
I think Stamann's wrestling should be enough. I don't think too much of Alejandro Perez, but he, like Wes said, he is tough. But I don't really want to trust Stamen at minus 200 right now. Did probably get his knee fucked up a bit last time when Aljo subbed him. So who knows how hard he trained in this camp and stuff like that. But I'll pick Stamen, but stay away from a bet.
All right. What does Fischel got here?
So I know I've seen Perez fight several times, and I can never remember a single thing about him. I don't know if it's just like he's Mexican fighter number 7 or what it is, but I never can really remember him. I'm not very high on Stamen. I think Stamen is very average at everything he does. I thought when he was fighting Aljo, I thought that was one of the worst lines ever. I think it was like minus 140 or minus 150 on Aljo in that fight. Stamen's got okay wrestling. He's got okay boxing. I'm not betting this fight though, but I'll take Stamen.
I can tell you though that he hasn't lost since 2015. 6-0-1.
Perez.
Alejandro Perez. Yeah.
Who's that?
Exactly.
The guy you just talked about. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh. Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah. Eddie Wineland decision. Matthew Lopez he TKO'd. Yuri Alcantara decision. Sukamp tie. Decision split. TKO'd. Ian Entwistle TKO'd. Scott Jorgensen who hurt his ankle.
Scott Jorgensen. What the fuck?
That's his. That was kind of started his run in the UFC. I mean, nothing great there. The Wineland win's probably his best one. But overall,
that's embarrassing.
Yeah, there's not much there. I mean, he hasn't lost, so that's like something. But I mean, Stamen's a way better wrestler. I just think he's a little more dynamic. I think you should get the result, but I don't think either guy is going to blow the other. It's not going to be a blowout. So I think it could it's likely to go to decision, and 29-28, maybe a split. So not a fight I really want to be invested in, but I do think Stamen wins. Again, better wrestler. Definitely looking forward to the next fight, maybe as much as almost any fight on the card. We got Misha Cirkunov taking on the new dandy, Brazil's best dancer, Johnny Walker. Wes, get me started here. Tell me Walker blows him out. Tell me he gets another finish.
Man, it's possible. It's an interesting fight. Cirkunov, he's just got a lot of things going on right now. The whole situation with his wife and everything. I know everybody kind of deals with that differently. It's still for me hard to trust Cirkunov, man, coming off of just choking out Pat Cummings. He still got just blasted by Volkan and Glover before that, and it's just hard for me to put a lot of stock in that comeback win. And I don't know, man. It's still kind of a tough match. It can be a tough matchup for Johnny Walker here, though. We still haven't seen a lot of this guy. I'm leaning towards Walker catching him with something coming in. We know Cirkunov's going to have to get inside. He's going to want to get this down and try to get a sub. Will he be able to? Maybe. I know the odds were a whole lot better to take that shot on him maybe a week ago, earlier in the week. I missed Johnny Walker when he got down to like minus 125. I would have played him at that. If he gets back down to minus 120 or something, I'm going to take a shot more on Walker catching Cirkunov coming in with something that I think Cirkunov can get him down and choke him out. I'm still not convinced Cirkunov is all the way back from those 2 losses. And then, his wife going through cancer and shit, man, that's got to affect a dude leading up to a fight and training for a fight. And, he's got a tall order across the cage from him. So I'm leaning Walker at this point. No bet unless the line comes down a little bit more, though.
All right, Nushan.
I got a bet on Cirkunov. I got him at plus 163. At that number, I kind of had to take a shot. I think he definitely has to survive the first couple of minutes because those are going to be scary, especially with his chin. But if he does, I think he can get Walker down and sub him. This is just a small 1-unit bet for me because, like Wes said, Cirkunov has his wife's going through cancer treatment right now, and that's pretty scary for trying to train and have that on your mind. He is training now at Extreme Couture. He was there for his last fight. Before that, he was just training in Toronto with absolute nobodies and just dummying guys, like guys off the street. So
yeah, he was training like the west way out of Toronto and shit though too, right? Like where there's nobody.
It's basically Glover in a garage is what
yeah.
he was training, like
he's the northern garage weight champ.
I think that video of Glover training in the back alley with like a fucking trash can ice bath in Danbury, Connecticut that might be the best moment.
Great.
I think he's like grappling with like a 12-year-old, and the 12-year-old's like throwing him in a trash can full of ice in Connecticut. It's like the greatest video ever.
Yeah, so I mean, it is going to be scary the first couple minutes, but I think he can get him down and stop him.
All right, Lance, I'm curious what you got here. You going to break the deadlock?
Well, I mean, am I going to pick a draw? I like Johnny Walker here. I think it's a guy who's shown not so great chin right now, or last few fights, not counting Cummins, which doesn't really count. Yeah, he could take him down, but I don't know if we've seen enough from Johnny Walker to really know if he has good takedown defense or not. He's a tall, lanky guy. Those guys are usually pretty easy to take down. But there's just something about Johnny Walker, and I think confidence plays such a huge role in MMA, more than probably any other sport in the world, where if you're confident and you're feeling yourself and you're feeling good, it helps a lot. And I don't think there's anyone right now more confident than Johnny Walker. And I think Serkinov I don't know. I just feel like he's going to get caught. I think if he misses the first takedown, gets a little desperate, gets caught, and I think that's it. So I think Johnny Walker gets another first-round finish.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think that's the way you got to bet this fight, because Serkinov has a mookie chin, and Johnny Walker finishes early. He's a dynamic striker, aggressive finisher. It's hard to see him kind of winning beyond that, because if he's can't get the finish in the first round, it seems like he'll probably be taken to the mat and kind of controlled or submitted. But I think he's on a roll, and just his athleticism and size, I think, going to give Serkinov problems. I think he gets the finish, gets in the first round. And that's a bet. I believe I'm going to look it up. It's plus 175. It's even plus 200 at one book. So I think there's a good opportunity that happens at plus money. Main event of the preliminary card. They've been promoting this one. We got Jeremy Stephens taking on one of my favorite Russians, Zabit Magomedsharipov. Wes, break down this one. Top 10 battle in the featherweight division.
Yeah, this is a good one, man. There's few bigger Zabit fans than me, man, but I think there's a path here for Stephens, man. I think we've seen it. I think you can look at the Bochniak fight against Zabit and see a path for Stephens here, man. A pressure power puncher that Zabit has a little bit of problems with, man. We've seen Zabit's gas tank fail him a little bit when he's being pressured like that. I think that's what Stephens is going to do here. Zabit should probably win this fight. There's a couple fights on here like that I feel about, but man, at over plus 200, I see a path for Stephens here, man, and I'm going to take that shot. And like I said, I'm a huge Zabit fan. I think he's the future in this division, but at this point in his career, I think he's still got some slight holes, and those slight holes are what Stephens does pretty well. So yeah, I think he can stop Zabit in the third round or so, maybe even get to a decision and win a couple rounds here. So I took the shot on Stephens at plus 205.
All right, new Sean.
I think if Zabit's smart, he'll try to game plan like Moicano did. Just on his bike, picking and popping and using his length against Stephens, and just avoiding that haymaker because
he gets wild though, man. Zabit likes to get it.
Zabit's not really that style. He likes to do spinning shit and fancy shit, and that's very scary against a guy like Jeremy Stephens. I do think Zabit is the real deal. I know he hasn't fought anybody really yet. I don't think anybody really wants to fight him, but we got Jeremy Stephens because that guy will fight anybody. A bit worrisome that Stevens talked about, suicide and stuff like that after the old Aldo fight. That's not.
Did he really?
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, there's the other part though too where he talked about going and seeing a life coach that Dominic Cruz has went and seen, and Derek Fierro and stuff, and talked about his childhood and where he's always come up small in the big moments, and now he's got if you believe in that shit or not, he apparently does. So that's the other side of that. Yeah, he was talking about suicidal thoughts and shit though, which is, ooh.
Yeah, it's scary. But I'm taking Zabit here. I think he's just a younger fighter. I think Jeremy Stevens has some holes in his game, as we've seen against certain guys. I did get a good number on Zabit. I got him at minus 188. I had to take a shot at that point. But it's not going to matter because Diego's going to ruin that parlay. But, I got Gall and Zabit at plus 121 for 1 unit.
Isn't it Zabit? Is it really Zabit?
Yeah, it's
a beat, something like it, yeah.
Do you really care about pronouncing a Russian guy's name, Lance, correctly?
I mean, no.
Exactly.
No, I don't. I would just, I like Jeremy Stevens here, which is, not surprising because I'm a Jeremy Stevens guy, but Jeremy Stevens has fought a bunch of up-and-comers that people liked, and they normally go to sleep. I think Zabit is sloppy. And I talked about Johnny Walker's confidence, but I think Zabit is more cocky than confidence. It's just how he fights. He does stupid shit. He gets in positions where he can get in trouble. He gets hit a lot. He does some stupid shit. And when you're facing a guy like Jeremy Stevens, that can get you put to sleep real quick. Stevens' power is obviously still there. And I think this is just too much too soon. It's kind of hard to go from, Kyle Bochniak and Brandon Davis to Jeremy Stevens, who's one of the best in the division, and nobody in that division really hits harder. I like Stevens here. I think he does. I think Zabit does something stupid, and I think he gets caught. And it's one of every single knockout that Jeremy Stevens has is pretty much a highlight, violent, just disgusting knockout. And I think we see that again.
I like Zabit. To gotta be honest with you, I think he could even take Stevens to the mat. He's just way bigger and just possesses a lot more than Stevens does. I don't like the angle with Stevens mentally. That's not great, for one. I mean, he definitely likes to finish, and he'll kind of come forward. I just think Zabit's way too savvy to get finished by him, but we shall see. It's definitely the fight where we get to see how good Zabit really is. Kind of like the Peter Yan bout with John Dodson we saw last week, and the prospect made it through flying colors. We'll see if that happens again this week. Main card, we got a real banger to start this card off. At least I got that part right. Cody Garbrandt and Pedro Munoz. Wes, are you going to be hanging with the boys here, or are you going to go with with Pedro Munoz?
Yeah, man. In most circumstances, I would like Cody in this fight. Man, there's just something screaming at me, man, that I don't know if Cody's 27, and I think the dude might be declining, man. Seriously, I know it was TJ Dillashaw on the other end of those beatings, but man, he got fucked up pretty bad in those fights, man. And the bad thing about it is, from fight 1 to fight 2, he learned absolutely nothing. The dude goes in there and just does wild shit. And man, Pedro Munoz has turned into a fearsome fucking striker, man, with some decent power. And I think Cody's got a very suspect chin at this point. I think we all thought he had a suspect chin a couple years ago when all the concussion stories were out about him. It just didn't show up until a guy that could actually hit him like TJ. I just got a feeling he gets caught here, man, by something from Pedro, and Munoz can finish him, man. So I still haven't bet it. There's still a couple things about Kobe. I think he's better in some spots, a lot, but I just worry about that chin a lot, man. And Munoz has turned into a guy that can test some chin. So I was wanting a little bit better odds on Munoz to bet him. If it goes up a little bit more, I'll probably go ahead and take the shot. But Munoz is going to be a pick for me here for sure.
All right, Nushan.
I think this line is low on Garbrandt. There's definitely a lot of concerns. Wes talked about him getting knocked out twice in a row, and even having a sketchy chin with concussions before that. I just don't think Pedro Munoz is the guy to do it. I know he's improved a lot with his striking, but this guy is still a grappler.
I don't know. He's a kickboxer now, actually.
That's probably not a great idea against Garbrandt. I mean, I guess he doesn't have any choice because it's not like he's going to be able to take down Garbrandt anyway. But do we not remember what Garbrandt did to Cruz? Like, I know that was a long time ago, and that was 2 knockouts ago, but that guy is still good. Like, I am not a fan of Cody Garbrandt. I think he was an absolute douchebag, but I just think he's low here. I mean, yeah, he's coming off 2 bad losses, but he's still a very skilled offensive fighter. The defense is sketchy. I'll be hoping that Pedro doesn't catch him, but sounds like Garbrandt kind of has his head a bit better on straight. He's become a dad. I think that helps him a bit, and he's definitely respecting Munoz going into this fight, whereas I think it was just too much hate and anger going into that TJ Dillashaw, and it kind of blinded him.
That's a very good point.
He does have Roxburgh brains, so maybe it gets thrown out the window as soon as he gets in that cage, but I put Garbrandt in a parlay. I got him at like minus 150.
Lance.
I'm firmly with Nushan here. I think the power of Pedro Munoz is not real.
I agree.
He's hurt guys a little bit with some shots when kind of like wearing on him a little bit, but the guy does not have knockout power at all. Almost
knocking out Brian Caraway is not knockout power.
That was a body kick.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be like massive knockout power for a chinny motherfucker though.
I don't know. I mean, I think we're downplaying TJ Dillashaw if anything right now. I think some guys are bad matchups, but I think on top of it, TJ Dillashaw's fucking good, and I think if the Henry Cejudo fight doesn't happen, we're kind of talking a little bit different. But I mean, Dillashaw is an absolute beast, and don't forget in that fight, or I think it was the first one, Garbrandt put TJ on his ass, and Garbrandt, had his moments there. And I think this fight is going to stay on the feet. There's no way Pedro Munoz can shoot a takedown and get him down. I think something crazy would have to happen where Munoz just somehow grabs his neck and some kind of weird scramble or something weird happens. But I don't think Pedro is going to be able to take him down, which means it's going to be a striking match. And I don't even think they're even remotely in the same world on the feet. Cody's boxing that we sometimes forget about is really, really good. His footwork is really, really good, and he's almost impossible to take down. So I think it's low. I think Cody Garbrandt is going to just dominate this fight. I don't know if he gets a finish, but it's gonna be one side, either a second or third round finish, or it's going to be a one-sided decision. So I like Garbrandt a lot here. I'll be betting him.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'll leave it at that. I like Garbrandt as well. Speed is a big factor here. I think he takes out Munoz unless Cody Garbrandt becomes Justin Scoggins. I think he gets the job done. I know Lance may not have an opinion on this fight, but we got our final women's bout of the night.
Hard pass.
Tornado, Tisha Torres taking on
Lance. Come on.
Whaley. No, she's not. Where's she wrestling in college?
How is Tisha Torres not a big favorite in this bout? Explain this to me. What is going on here?
I don't know. I probably think it's
She's
about
the
right.
underdog in this fight, Wes. She's the underdog.
Yeah, I don't think she should be the dog probably, but I mean, this is going to be just a horrible, horrible fight. This is not going to be.
Also, Tisha Torres fight.
This is not going to be watchable, man. I really could care less about this fight. I could see taking a shot at Tisha at plus money here. She's definitely the better fighter, but I mean, Jane can wrestle, man. I mean, she's a pretty decent wrestler too. I think this is going to turn into a very boring fight, and I have no clue. I'm not betting this fight. Probably pick Tisha. I think she's a little bit better.
All right, new Sean. You know that Tisha Torres has 3 career losses, right?
Yep.
Or 3 career losses, professional losses.
Yeah.
All of them are to fighters.
Plus, she fucked bro hugs. She fucked bro hugs though, so that's a loss. Remember? Don't forget.
That was amateur stuff, Lance. That was not, he's certainly no pro. Anyway, new Sean. All those 3 losses have all been to 2 of them are to current champion, a former champion, and the next title challenger. What is Weili Zhang?
She's a prospect that has some skills, but I don't know. I mean, she went to a fucking decision against Danielle Taylor, the little person. You remember her? Oh
no.
My god, yeah, she's not good. So,
yeah, the little one, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought Tisha Torres looked decent against Joanna. I was in attendance in that fight. Like, supposedly it was just a one-sided fight, but I thought she did decent in it.
I did too.
But when I was worried about my bet on Joanna when they read the scorecards, but I guess I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I gotta pick Torres here, but am I just like completely blind? Like, I mean, she definitely should not be the underdog here, but something's scaring me away. Zhang definitely has some offense, but she's a pretty big unknown at this point, and this is a huge step up.
My turn?
Yep.
Oh, cool. I'll just tell a story. So it was a couple weeks ago. They announced the pay-per-view, the card for this, the official card, and then I tweeted Tisha Torres versus some chick, and then all the Twitter nerds started getting mad at me and like yelling at me, and were like, "You don't know." I still don't know her name. Zhang. You don't know Zhang? Oh my god, look at this fucking guy. What a loser. He doesn't know Zhang. So that's my story. Twitter nerds undefeated and being losers.
Yeah, they are losers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Torres because this line is stupid. Like I said, I don't get how she's the underdog in this bout. She's beating everyone who's come in front of her that she should beat, and has just losses to to champions or challengers. And this is a Chinese fighter. Enough said. I don't get it. I'm going to bet Torres on principle, and if I'm wrong, I will not eat rat shit in Calcutta. Let's move up to welterweight. We got Ben Askren, and we know that's why Lance is here, fighting Robbie Lawler. You know what? I'm going to let the other guys go first because I feel Lance is going to take 20 minutes. Let's go with Wes to start.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting fight. It's good to definitely see Askren finally over in the UFC. We've all waited quite a while for that, especially our boy Lance over there. So it's an interesting fight, interesting matchup for his first fight. I mean, they gave him a pretty decent name, but they gave him, I think, a pretty, about as good of a matchup as he could want. I hear you.
Darren Till was the fight to make. They fucked that up.
Yeah, I hear you. There's just a couple things here for me. This is going to be the best opponent Askren has fought in like years, like
ever.
Probably. Well, I mean, he did fight Krasnikov a long time ago, so Robbie's probably definitely better at this point. Douglas, the good Lima, he fought him, but it's been a long, long time. Man, this is not fucking Shinya Aoki and shit like that. And if we go back to the Santos fight, like Santos had some success against Askren, not a lot, but he had some. And man, if Robbie can hold this up for a round or so, man, things get interesting, man. If Robbie lands one or two, things get interesting here, I think. So I just think the line's a little bit big, man, and it's to a point to where I got to take a little shot on Robbie here. I do think Ben wins this fight more times than not. But it's kind of like the Steven situation for me. There's a path here for Robbie, in my opinion. So I took a little shot. I do think Askren wins this more times than not, though. Robbie's not got the greatest takedown defensive. We know what Askren's going to do. But if, like I said, if this stays up for a little bit, man, Robbie's he's still got that power. So if he catches Askren, and then definitely the best guy he's fought in a long, long time. So that's another thing. And interesting fight. Glad Askren's finally over there, though. It's pretty cool.
New Sean.
I think this is one of those fights where we've kind of been talking about them recently, where however whatever the result is, we're going to kind of say that's obvious. Like, if Robbie stuffs a takedown, he's probably going to knock out Askren on the feet. But if he doesn't, then Askren's going to lay on him.
Gonna smack him. Yeah.
I didn't like what I saw from Robbie Lawler in the RDA fight. He's just been so inactive. He is getting up there. He has a shit ton of fights. He has a lot of miles on him. I do think Askren is going to be able to get inside and take him down and make him tired. Like Wes said, Lawler doesn't have great takedown defense. Been taken down even by like Rory McDonald in that fight. Would I be mad if Lawler just absolutely starches Askren and Lance cries? No, that would actually kind of be good. After all the shit that Lance has talked about Askren the whole time, that wouldn't be a terrible thing. But I put Askren in a 1-unit parlay with some other guys.
All right, Lance.
Go, Lance. Go.
Make this. All right. I guess I got to warn listeners that don't want to hear the NC-17 related slobbing.
He has no pants on right now.
You could tune out for the next 7 minutes while Lance fellatiates.
Yeah.
All right, Lance.
I've been the president of the Ben Askren fan club for a long, long, long time. I wish this would have happened, like 5 years ago or so when he left Bellator, somewhere around there. But as far as the matchup, like I didn't want him to fight Robbie Lawler, and I thought it was a bad idea for the UFC because what you're bringing Askren outside of the cage is one of the funniest, most clever trash talkers like in the sport, and they put him against a guy you literally can't talk shit about.
Yep.
Like there's nothing you can, and he hasn't said one bad word about Robbie Lawler because Robbie Lawler's beloved. I mean, the Till fight was the obvious fight to make. It's an easy win for Askren. That was a fight they should have made. But regardless, when you look at this fight, you have a 36-year-old off of ACL surgery facing now the greatest wrestler to ever fight in the UFC. Not a very good combination for Robbie. And if you look at it, so I think everyone can kind of agree he lost the Cowboy fight. He lost the Condit fight. So you can look, Robbie Lawler really hasn't won a fight since 2015. It's 2019. So he hasn't won in a long, long time. So I do think it's definitely possible Robbie could catch him. But the thing with Ben, he's 34, but as he likes to say, he really hasn't been hit. He hasn't been in any slugfest. He hasn't taken much damage. Even the Santos fight, he got hit like twice, and everyone acted like he got hit over the head with a table. And then Santos faked an injury and then refused to fight the rest of the fight. So I don't really – everyone loves to bring that up when talking about Ben Askren. But Ben Askren has outrageous takedowns. He gets in close. He has a bunch of variety with his takedowns. And the thing with Askren is he has amazing cardio. If you look at some of those, like in the Bellator fights when he's actually training and taking it seriously, he'd be in the 4th or 5th round in those fights and not even breathing heavy. So Robbie coming off ACL surgery, 36 years old. The price is high, but I think it should be. I think Ben Askren rolls here. I obviously don't think he gets a finish, but I do think Askren gets takedowns immediately, and Askren's also on top of it one of the smartest fighters in the game. He's not going to do anything stupid. He's not going to try to stand with Robbie. He'll take him down relentlessly, gas him out, and then win a very wide decision.
Okay. This is the tough one for me because I mean, there's certainly a path, like a really strong path to victory for Ben Askren here. I do question like the quality of the opponents he's fought and the caliber of the strikers, and if there's any sort of time on the feet, like you know, Askren will be in trouble because I mean, for one, I guess the comparison point would be Khabib from a grappling standpoint, but I think Khabib's a way better striker than Askren is or can be. So, and Khabib's been forced to be on the feet with dynamic strikers like a Barboza or Connor or other fighters as well, Ally Quinta. I think Askren would struggle in that regard if that does happen. But he certainly should be able to secure takedowns and hold Waller down for enough of this fight to get the win. But I think there could be a couple dicey moments. So I don't think it's going to be as I guess it's hard to imagine it being as clean cut as Lance will make it out to be, but maybe not as difficult as maybe West makes it out to be. But we'll see. I'm intrigued to see, and I'll definitely have a stronger opinion of Askren after this fight to see if he can make it to the top of the food chain in the UFC. Top of the food chain it is. Moving up, welterweight title fight. We got friend of the MMA Analysis, Kamaru Usman.
He is?
Yeah, since you left, he became one. And
why?
For the obvious reasons.
Wins dominantly.
Yes. Taking on Tyron Woodley. The guy who got knocked out by one of Lance's favorites, Nate Marquardt. All right, let's go with Wes. What are your thoughts on this title fight? The more interesting title fight on this card.
That Marquardt knockout was one of the awesomest knockouts I've ever seen.
Ever.
It was like
top 5 of all time.
It was like a 10-hit combo out of a video game or some shit. It was so awesome.
I've seen it over 100 times.
Yeah, it's fucking great. Yeah, even before going to this fight, can we go back and talk about the line that we got on Tyron Woodley against Darren Till?
That was my biggest MMA bet ever, I think.
Thanks Twitter nerds.
Twitter nerds, man. I tell you what.
Yeah, this is an intriguing fight, man. I will say I'm a little biased towards Usman. I like the guy a lot. I think he's really good. I think these dudes are very similar, man. At this point, I think we're gonna get quite a bit of staring in this fight. I don't think there's going to be a ton of action. When there is action, I think we could see some crazy stuff, but I think that's going to be far and few between, man. I think it's close. I lean Usman. Like I said, I'm a little biased. I got a really good line on him at plus 170. I just think this is going to be close, man. It's going to be so slow, and these guys are going to do so little stuff. Little things are going to win rounds here, and I also think once this gets to the 4th and the 5th that Usman's shown he's definitely got a little bit better cardio at this point. Woodley's starting to get a little bit up in age, so I think that explosion and stuff it's going to start hitting the wall eventually. Just think Usman's the younger, hungrier guy here, and a really, really close fight. Two similar guys, two that aren't going to do a whole lot at times in this fight. I'm going to take a little shot on the plus 170 and kind of root for a guy that I'd rather see hold the belt that I think opens up some pretty interesting matchups, especially against Covington if he wins this fight. I think that's pretty interesting. So, yeah, I like Usman here and pick Usman, betting Usman, and I hope he wins the fight. I'd like to see him and Kobe go at it.
All right, Nushan.
This is a tough one. I think most of us have been on the Usman train for a while now. I think Woodley is always underrated just because people don't like him and the kind of way his fights have gone. I think Usman's best chance is to try to push Woodley against the fence and try to gas him out, because if they're going to stare at each other, that's not how Woodley gets tired. Like in those the Thompson fights, Woodley wasn't tired because they didn't do shit the whole fight. So you got to push Woodley to get him tired. So then Usman's going to open himself out to get countered, which is a bit scary. I think Woodley is obviously the better striker, but Usman's got that cardio. I really honestly don't know who's going to win this fight. There's so many. It's hard to get a gauge on Woodley and where he is just because of the lack of fights and just who he's fought. Obviously, the Till fight was an easy one, but the Maia fight, we knew he was just going to shut him down and be boring, and then the Thompson fights were a shit show. So it's hard to gauge him. Usman is aggressive. I don't know if he can be that aggressive against a Woodley, because we know what happens if you bring the fight to Woodley. I'll pick Woodley just being the champ and being underrated, but I really don't have an idea on this fight.
Okay, Lance, what are your thoughts here?
I'm a little confused by this line, honestly. And I think kind of what Nushan said. People don't like Woodley.
Yes, that's right.
He's not.
Woodley. I like Woodley though.
Yeah, but
the only one.
Most people don't.
Yeah, just like people, right. He's not really liked. People don't like him as a champion. He talks a lot. He's annoying. Blah blah blah. But
puts
he
up
wins.
shitty rap videos.
Yeah, but
very shitty.
The guy just wins. He like the Darren Till fight. Like the line made no sense, and just like the guy just wins. And I don't see where Usman is better in any way. The wrestling is
wrong.
You might think the wrestling is not close. I don't think. I think Woodley is a 10 times better wrestler than Kamaru Usman. Woodley is a much better striker. Woodley has way more knockout power. Woodley has fought for belts. There's no adrenaline dump there. There's no nervousness. He's been there. He's done that. I'm shocked by this line. I think Usman is good, but I think this is the worst possible matchup for Usman because it's a guy that Usman's not going to be able to take down, and I think that's where he's going to be struggling because it's going to force Usman to stand and trade with Woodley. And I think he gets frustrated. I think he gets over aggressive. I think he's coming into this fight a little cocky and shit talking and all that stuff, which is kind of out of his norm as well. And I think he gets over aggressive when he can't get him down. I think he gets caught, and I think Woodley puts him out.
Well, Woodley certainly has the knockout power. The biggest difference, the thing that Lance didn't talk about, is the work rate and the volume. And Woodley spends a lot of time staring at opponents and not throwing. He's very Yoel Romero like that he'll throw three things, he'll save his energy, and then he'll use, kind of just like those he's got like that fast twitch mentality of just a few strikes, stand back, wait a minute, do the same thing. While Usman is continually moving, continually aggressive, pushes, volume striker. That's kind of the key for me, is that he's just going to do more. And if it stays on the feet, it stays on the feet. And as long as he doesn't get knocked out, he's going to win the title. Avoiding getting knocked out is dangerous, but if this goes to a decision, I find it very hard for Woodley to win to retain the title. I really do.
Don't you think the aggressiveness and pushing forward is exactly what Woodley wants? Look at the last couple of guys the last two guys he fought that were super aggressive and pushed the pace were Darren Till and Robbie Lawler.
Man, this guy's not them. This guy's not them, man.
But he loves guys who are going to push against him and be aggressive. When you have guys when you have guys like Steven Thompson and Damian Maia who are going to sit back more, that's where he gets in these boring fights and stares. When he fights guys that are more aggressive, he can counter, and that's when he does a lot better. Woodley's going to be in boring fights versus boring fighters, and when a guy is aggressive, he usually catches them.
I think Usman's going to be bigger and stronger here too, and if he wants to get this up against the cage and work on Woodley a little bit and tire him out, it's going to be there. That's going to be a big part of this. I think Woodley's got to catch him with something to knock him out. Or I think Jay's right. He's going to lose a boring ass decision.
He's gonna wear himself out though. I think that's the key. I think it could be from an exhaustion standpoint, he's gonna run out of gas. We've seen that before, and I think that's really the key to this bout. I think
it's close.
Covington can give him a problem is because he's just not going to be able to. From a conditioning standpoint, be able to maintain any sort of level to win those late rounds against these kind of fighters. But we shall see. It's definitely the most intriguing fight on the entire fight card.
Do we even need to talk about the main event?
I think we always talk about it.
We'll just fluff Jones. It's fine.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that. Jonathan Dwight Jones returning to the cage, shortest amount of time between his fights since 2011, taking on something called Anthony Smith, some middleweight, right? Wes.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty awesome. We get the GOAT a couple times already this year. Hopefully he fights a couple more times, like he said he's going to. I think the next couple fights this year, if he makes them, are going to be pretty big ones. So hopefully he doesn't do any fucking things stupid in that time. Dude's already got another test come out that's fucking. I don't know. I guess it's dirty, not dirty, picograms, whatever. Again, who gives a shit? But yeah, man, this seriously, this might be one of the worst title fights, man. Mate, I know Anthony Smith has got some wins now, and I'm genuinely happy that the guy is getting a title shot, going to make a little bit of money. But this isn't going to be close, man. I just don't see anywhere where Anthony Smith can win this fight, dude. I like Bones inside the distance. I know the lines come down like over $5 this week, but there's some props that I think might be worth some sprinkle. I'm gonna wait for his points handicap to come out. Is it nice?
Minus 520.
Jesus. Well, inside the distance is a little better than. Actually, I think John might get a sub in this fight. We talked about it in our little chat, and I could see him backing Smith up with some shots. And Smith is tough and likes to throw, and I could see him getting him something against the cage and grabbing a neck here. So I'm going to sprinkle on Bones by sub, and yeah, I think he rolls here, man, and hopefully. Next time out, we get. I'd like to see the DC fight again because Bones has taken about 50 drug tests over the past year, and I'd love to see him knock DC out again and be like, go fuck yourself.
Make some more money.
Yeah, I know there's some.
Hasn't he failed all the drug tests?
No, he actually has passed 6 drug tests in the past month, and then the ones that came out yesterday had that trace in it.
Which makes no sense. It's like, all right, you're drug free. 2 weeks later, oh, it's back. Oh, it must have just been like run around in my body, and then it.
That's what they're trying to say, dude. That it's like some fucking rogue molecule that's just bouncing around his balls or something, and when he fucking bangs right one night, it shakes him up, and yeah.
I can't wait till he retires, and he's like, man, I was juicing that whole time.
I was taking that shit the whole time.
I never stopped. I just
he'd say that too.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't give a shit.
Like, this is why y'all shit sucks. You know why? Because I was juicing the whole time, motherfucker.
Fuck you, DC.
Yeah, Bones all day here, man. This is an easy fight for him. It's gonna be a murder.
All right, Nushan, you agree with murder?
Yeah, of course.
187.
Yeah, 187. With a line like this, you kind of got to look at props, I think. I mean, I put Bones in a bunch of parlays and stuff like that, but I think Bones, in fights where he hasn't fought guys, he's usually a bit more cautious. I don't think he's just going to starch him in round 1. I think you look, maybe he wins in round 2 at plus 225, or maybe even round 3 at plus 635. Sprinkle on those, because he is going to have to be cautious in the first round. I think that's Anthony Smith's only shot is round 1. If you want to take Anthony Smith round 1, it's plus 1,600. So that kind of tells you what's going on there. But I haven't played anything like that yet. But yeah, this is gonna be all Bones. I might sprinkle on round 3 or something like that if I feel lucky.
All right, Lance. Last fight. Last time we'll hear you speak for who knows how long.
3 years.
Yeah, I'll be back in 3 years. So. I mean, obviously, I think Bones is going to win. I actually think he takes care of him pretty quick because Bones said he wants to fight, 3 or 4 times this year? I think he gets in. I think he takes Anthony Smith down immediately and subs him. I feel like this is going to be a one-round fight.
That would be smart.
Both sub, but different ways, huh?
Yeah, I think he does what he wants here, and what's the point of, taking any damage or anything? So I think he takes him down, subs him, and then I think we see Bones again in the next 3 months. I think that's just what he wants to do right now. I think he'll be back probably maybe in May or something like that. So, yeah, I think Bones subs him pretty easily.
He says he's going to fight. He wants to fight 2 more times this year. So if that's the case, we're going to see him, a few months.
And then the end of the year.
Yeah,
or something.
probably that. Yeah,
that
probably like
sense.
the 4th of July weekend fights or something like that.
I thought he said he wants to fight 4 times this year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be 2. This is going to be 2.
He fought on basically
That
New
was
Year's
last year.
Eve, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
get what you're saying.
Because I think he said he wanted to fight 4 times in 2019. So you're looking at, if he fights, he's fighting this weekend, and maybe he does in May. Well, I mean, if he fights in May or June, and then takes a fight in August, and then takes a fight in December, that's 4.
Especially if he gets out of this one fairly easy, like we think he's going to.
He's just racking up money. I mean, if he can take a fight like this, sub a guy in a minute, make a couple $1 million, and do it 3 more times.
Imagine all
million.
the money.
He's out of trouble when he's fighting this often.
And the money
Jon Jones doesn't make a couple $1 million. He makes a lot more than a couple. Plus he's John.
The dude's
On a card like this?
Oh yeah.
He's lost a lot of money over.
It's not gonna.
Jonathan does. Oh yeah.
He makes. I bet he makes a couple million a fight.
I bet you he makes
more
3
than
or 4, $5 million on this card.
I bet in a big. I don't know how well this will do with. I mean, with the matchup. It's so uninteresting.
Still, most Bones pay-per-views do $500,000. Like, I think he's going to do 400, 450.
Yeah, but he's fighting a complete scrub.
It doesn't matter, man.
They want to see Bones.
Jon Jones.
He's the pretty much the second best draw in the sport now.
I've had a lot of people already reach out to me, like locally, and just saying, when Bones fights this weekend, where are you going? Like, okay. I mean, I know it's a dumb analogy, but yeah. I looked at it from a statistical perspective, and I was trying to see, like, is there any advantages that Anthony Smith has outside of being he's younger? It's literally the only one.
He's younger.
Less the rest.
Fights.
Jones is taller. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage. He lands a significant strike more per minute in the octagon, and he absorbs 50% less strikes. So Anthony Smith absorbs over 4 strikes a minute. He actually gets hit more than he hits people, and Jon absorbs like 2 strikes a minute. It's way less. Anthony Smith also has like 45% takedown defense. Jon could easily take him down at will.
Trouble here, dude.
Jon has 95% takedown defense. I mean, I was looking for it. I was like, is there anything here? No, I mean, I really don't see it unless Jon just shows up like drunk.
He'd still win.
He'd probably still win.
He could show up with white powder fucking streaking out his nostrils.
Honestly, what I think happens is that Jon like hits him and eventually just secures a takedown. It's just going to beat the fuck out of him on the mat, and then he'll probably turn him and then submit him, or turtle him and then force the referee to stop it. One or the other. I'm kind of leaning towards the submission because I think it's easily
Plus
there.
170. That's a good shot.
But I know the consensus is inside the distance for Jon, with the inside the difference from the Macy Chazian fight, and that pays plus 108 new, Sean. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right, so that's the play. That's the consensus bet this week. I know we haven't had one in a little while, but we're back at it, and we're very happy to include the great Jonathan Dwight Jones, the GOAT of MMA, in that. And that does it for this week. Special unexpected guest, Lance Fischel, making his
had Brad last week.
Triumphant return.
That's wild.
New.
Lance this week.
The notorious week. BSG himself. Lance.
I'm gonna go down and see the old Fischel clan here in a few weeks myself.
Yep. When is that? What is that? Like middle of March, right?
It's towards the end, the 20-something, I believe, 24th or 27th, something like that.
How mookie is that card again? I forgot. It's March 23rd. Let's take a look at this card.
Nashville gets the worst cards. We always do.
One. You get to see J.J.
Curtis Blades.
Yeah, we don't do really well.
No, we've never gotten to. We did get that one. We went to Cincinnati and watched that. Was that the Matt Brown fight?
That card was good.
That was in Cincinnati. Yeah, that's right. That's when y'all drove up. Yeah.
That was a good card.
You got Juicy Formiga taking on Davis and Figueiredo.
Hey, that's a good fight.
McDessie and Hackparas. The Violent Bob Ross is on that card, I see.
There's some action fights.
I feel like Eric Shelton is a Lance kind of guy.
Bryce Mitchell, the guy who ripped open his sack.
Yeah, I like that guy.
I know Lance can't wait to see Alexis Davis and Jennifer Maya.
Or how about Randy Marcos and Angela Hill?
Wow! Oh,
wow!
And you got
Angela
Randy
Hill is
Marcos
so
on there.
boring.
Oh man, how many women's fights are on this card? I'm looking.
There's at least 3.
There's at least 3. No, there's 4.
No.
Yeah.
Another one?
No, 3. No, there's 3. Sorry, I got excited. Yeah. I got excited.
That's how much they max out. They max out.
I mean, the card's okay. It's not like the worst card ever.
No, there's some decent fights on there.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
Knock Pettis the fuck out. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. See,
we'll have bets. We'll be at our regular bar and getting drunk beforehand. So that'll be fun.
I think Hack Brass McDessie's a fun one.
Yeah,
Lance big into the Formiga thing.
Yeah, that Formiga fight's pretty good too.
Curtis
I'm looking
Blades
forward to that.
versus Justin Willis. You get to see some titty.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Big pretty. No, it's not.
Big
it's not
pretty.
Bad. It's not bad. I got so much. We're going to Disney World in like a week, so I gotta get through that first.
Oh shit!
Ooh.
I think you'll live.
And then I had a pipe burst in my wall last week, so my entire foyer doesn't have wood, and my bathroom got ripped out. So I got that going on.
Jesus. Brad just had a pipe bust too, I think he said.
Yeah, but mine worked out. I got a bunch of money from insurance, and they had to pay me to replace the entire downstairs hardwood. But I didn't tell them I had like a couple boxes of extra hardwood, so basically I can pocket some money with that.
There you go.
So, well, it was fun, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again in
show up.
We'll talk to you again in 2021.
No, I'll be back sooner than that. I promise. I'll try to do better.
I guess next time. Ben fights, you'll be back.
Right.
Yeah, that could be it. All right. Well, thanks for joining us this week, everybody, and look forward to an excellent pay-per-view card, and the John Dwight train will continue. Maybe one day he'll move up to heavyweight. Maybe, just maybe, he'll get competitive again. Who are we kidding? Good night.